thing like it's tied. Whether you're up 10, and I mean that, up 10, down 10, whichever, play this whole game like it's tied. The scoreboard, that is not a factor. You just have to focus, execute, and make crisp decisions. I think that's something that has bitten the Gales a few times, and really just stay locked in, play the whole game like it's tied. And they've had some games where they're up, and they've let those leads get away. So that's a trick for the Gales too.
Well, it was in this very gym that this weekend the men's team beat the men's side in Gonzaga. We'll see if the women can take care of business and slay the Bulldogs when we return on ESPN Plus here inside of UCU. Well, hello everyone, and welcome to University Credit Union Pavilion here in Moraga. Evan Giddings alongside Tim Fitzgerald, and we are underway between St. Mary's and Gonzaga. Your starting five first for the opposing Bulldogs, led by the 11th year head coach Elisa Fortier, Esther Little, Claire O'Connell, the familiar name Taylor Dalton, Allie Turner, and Yvonne Ejim. As the first whistle of the game, it's going to go out of bounds, and it'll remain with the roadside. As for St. Mary's, Jada Hunter, Maya Jones, Kennedy Johnson, Zariah Kuso, and Abigail Shaw. Fitz, this is a matchup that St. Mary's, I think, has been looking forward to. They've been heading in a downward direction. Meanwhile, Gonzaga has been the team that's been headed up.
Yeah, Gonzaga winners of 9 straight as that 3-ball was missed there from the sharpshooting freshman. Or rather, that was Claire O'Connor that missed that one.
Our officials this evening, Michael Murray, Mark Harmon, and Marissa Cannon. Well, Gonzaga already featuring somewhat of a bogged-down zone defense as Abigail Schaff, who shot it very well from three-point range during conference play, misses her first look. And obviously this is a Gonzaga team that's coming off a Sweet 16 appearance last year. Not as great wholesomely as the 32-win squad that went undefeated in conference play a year ago as Schaff puts the spin move on and misses Ejim the rebound, but nonetheless a formidable opponent, Fitz, that has begun to find its stride.
Yeah, they're absolutely hitting their stride, and last year, as we noted in the pregame, graduated 4 starters from last year's team, and it just took some time to gel and going through some adjustments at the beginning of the season.
Well, Ejim running right into the body of Akuso. Ejim, by the way, as you heard during the pregame, I mean, just the statistics speak for themselves. Over 2,000 points, 1,000 rebounds. She is 15 points away from becoming the all-time leader in points in Gonzaga program history as Schaff misses at the front, and then manages to tip it off out of bounds off of O'Connor to stay with St. Mary's.
Yeah, good look there for Schaff, and she's had a couple of decent looks, one from downtown, one from inside, and a fortuitous bounce there for the Gales as it went off of the fingers of O'Connor.
Well, for St. Mary's, a season of streakiness. They were 1-7-2 in conference play, and perhaps an outside shot to fight for the top as Schaff just throws that one away. But a 3-game losing streak, overtime to Santa Clara, a loss to Portland, and then got battered by Oregon State, the last time out. So it'll be very interesting to see which St. Mary's Gales group we get under the second-year head coach, Jeff Cameron.
Yeah, and Coach Cameron, after that loss to Santa Clara, he talked about closing out and haven't had that killer instinct just yet.
Yvonne Ejim with the first basket for Gonzaga. 2 minutes in. Again, 13 points away. And 15 almost seems like you can just etch it in. I mean, this is a player that's averaging 21.5 points per game, top 10 in the nation, nevertheless the conference. As for St. Mary's, the question of the night is where is their offense going to come from as Akuso throws it away?
And that's something we talked about in the pregame, the decision-making, Evan. That wasn't the execution of that pass and going there wasn't really what Akuso should have gone for.
Here's Taylor Dalton, who transferred from St. Mary's after 4 really nice seasons with the Gales in her 5th year. And there's Little. Might have got away with a walk, but cleaned up her own business.
I'll say the same thing I said about Hannah Rapp's return here to UCU Pavilion with Santa Clara, as I'll say the same thing for Taylor Dalton. I hope the Gales win, but I hope she has a good game.
Yeah, Dalton gave so much to this program, in many ways sort of embodied just that scrappiness, the do-it-all kind of ability, and has been able to bring that to a very good team in Spokane as Hunter misses the floater.
Again, 3 good looks here for St. Mary's. Nothing's going in yet, though.
Dalton drives to the rack and reverses it home. 6-0 run to begin the game for Gonzaga. Timeout, St. Mary's. 6:39 left. That'll bring us to our first media timeout as we step aside here in Moraga. We'll be back with more West Coast Conference women's basketball after this. Evan Giddings and Tim Fitzgerald on ESPN+.
Jersey Mike's.
For the roadside is Gonzaga is up on St. Mary's here early on in the first quarter. Evan Giddings alongside Tim Fitzgerald with you here on ESPN Plus. And a quick timeout from Coach Cameron Fitz. Something I think a bit expected, especially in a game of this magnitude, right? St. Mary's is a team that, after finding themselves to begin conference play, a rocky start as of late, not wanting to let this one move into the hands of, albeit a different Gonzaga group than last year, but still a pretty veteran-laden squad.
Yeah, it really is. They found their groove. They're still coached well, and you don't want things to snowball on you like that. Again, they try that entry pass.
Maybe some contact there on Schaaf. Now definitely some contact, and the first foul against Gonzaga is going to be called against Claire O'Connor.
Great rebound there from Kennedy Johnson. She really does it all for this team, averaging 12.5 points a game, but also 5.5 boards, leads the team in both.
And St. Mary's is a squad that is not afraid to substitute 1, 2, a hockey line change will bring in its first substitution of the evening. That's Emily Foley, who takes it underneath. Working around, fading, round and out. Still have yet to find a point.
Yeah, Gales have had some good looks at point-blank range. Haven't gotten anything to fall yet. In Gonzaga, they score a lot, but they do give up a lot of points. So the Gales are going to have these opportunities. Just got to convert.
Ejim throws it in, but before the basket goes, foul is going to be called on the floor. And second team foul against St. Mary's. And it's going to be, I believe, against Jones, her first. Maya Jones has had a nice stretch as of late. Couple of 23-point games, last of which against Santa Clara. But for a team in a season that's really looking for someone to sort of step into that dominant offensive role, Kennedy Johnson, of course, has done a fantastic job transferring over after some time at Idaho. But Maya Jones has the ability. It's just about now the consistency.
Yeah, the consistency and getting her going early, I think, is a key for the Gales. We've always seen that. If you get her going early, things can steamroll for her, and she'll really build off of that hot start. So I would really make a focused, concerted effort to try to get her the ball next possession.
Well, it looks like at this point, Marissa Cannon is checking in on the clock, trying to make sure that is correct, as well as also the game clock, which may have inadvertently reset. But either way, this side of the floor has not really been the issue for St. Mary's this season. In fact, Coach Cam has done a fantastic job of sort of rewriting the way the defense is played at St. Mary's. Fast, these different zones they'll throw at you. And as a result, he's kept teams to below 65 points per game, which is something that in recent memory has been somewhat of a challenge for the Gales.
Yeah, they've had 4 games where they've forced over 20 turnovers. And that defense has definitely buoyed them, kept them in some games, and sparked their offense as we're still working on the clock issue. And that'll be a challenge today for this Gales defense is, they can do a real good job. They did well against Santa Clara's Pollard for almost 3 quarters last game before she got loose, finished with 12 points. It's the same thing today. Can they put 4 quarters together of playing that top-notch defense? Can they deal with all the different ways Gonzaga can attack you as well?
Yeah, and trying to keep a number 1 option like Olivia Pollard, not an easy task. While trying to keep Yvonne Ejim in check, even more difficult.
Yeah.
Averaging pretty much a double-double this season. So have our clock management issues figured out, and we're back underway. An immediate double team nearly forces a turnover, but Gonzaga will take it side out as Bree Salenbine, who came back just a game ago after returning from an ACL injury she suffered around this time last year, makes her way to the court.
Gales in the 2-3 look. Jada Hunter showing those active hands early on.
Ejim tries to go right through the double team, and Akuso strips her.
Good to see some defensive prowess there from Akuso, known for her offense, but her defense is getting a lot better.
Johnson puts it on the deck, goes right to the cup, draws contact, and will get to the free throw line. So after an 0 for 6 start from the floor, Johnson says, let me just put my head down and get to the free throw line.
Yeah, I like the aggressive take there from Johnson, and she's really good at that, slashing to the cup, making those moves. Very aggressive take is necessary, I think, for the Gales right now, the way things have started.
Johnson is pretty much averaging the same amount of points in conference and non-conference play, about as steady as they come this season as she misses the free throw. Again, mentioned transfer from Idaho, spent a couple of seasons down at UC Santa Barbara. Well, Coach Jeff Kamen was a member of the Big West, so very familiar with her game and splits the free throws. St. Mary's has its first point, 6-1. Not bottom of the 8th inning, but 4.5 minutes into the first quarter.
You beat me to the baseball joke.
Ejim at the elbow, pulls up and drops it in. Second basket of the game for Ejim.
Defender right there, close in, didn't matter. She can hit it.
Hunter now tries to take her defender off the bounce and got caught in the air. That's a traveling violation.
Yeah, got caught in the air. She tried to play it off of the defender, tried to create a loose ball situation there. Couldn't quite do it as Allie Turner stepped in front of her.
So Inesh Betancourt's going to check in for the first time, a UConn transfer and a junior for Gonzaga. As St. Mary's sets up midcourt press, and Hunter, she thought it was clean, but gets called for the personal.
Yeah, unfortunately there for the Gales, she gets whistled. She's got such quick hands. She's worked her way into the starting lineup due to that defensive ability that she's flashed this season. And I like that the Gales are turning up the pressure a little bit, starting with kind of a three-quarter court pressure. You're probably going to have to use that throughout the game.
Amir Kurkowski into the game for St. Mary's. True freshman, having to really step into big minutes since the injury to Ella Whedon. As Ejim gets fouled, that's already the 13th foul against St. Mary's.
Yeah, they're piling up right now, unfortunately. So Coach Kamen, he's probably going to have to go to the bench pretty frequently in this game if that continues to pile up on him, along with if he's trying to press, set up some pressure.
Well, it's also the second personal against Jones. So one of your leading scorers now to the bench as Ejim curls off the screen and misses the shot.
That hurt the Gales against Santa Clara as well. Kuso got into foul trouble. Kennedy Johnson did. Maya Jones was there to carry the load, but now her in foul trouble. That's going to handicap them on trying to get her off to a hot start.
Johnson off the mark there. St. Mary's playing a little bigger now in their front court with Melasundu Afiaki also checking in during that last stoppage. So some size and length from the floor for St. Mary's as that three is bottomed by Salenbine. Salenbine with the triple, an 11-1 start for Gonzaga. This is the #1 three-point shooting team in the conference, the Gonzaga Bulldogs. They're extremely lethal from range, 36.4% as a team. That's also top 20 in the country. Afiaki from the free throw line, short, and the rebound to Ejim.
That's kind of Afiaki's sweet spot too, but couldn't get that one to fall home.
Salenbine steps through, in and out. Akuso tips it right to Little, who lays it in.
Good bounce there for the Zags, but also good positioning. A couple of Gales each going for that rebound instead of boxing out.
Well, Gonzaga, again, amidst a 9-game win streak. They've also had a lot of success individually against St. Mary's as Akuso gets the nice roll. First field goal of the game for the Gales.
Shooter's touch for Z. Just 1 for 5 at Oregon State. And it's been kept to single digits the last 3 games.
Salenbine feeling it, back-to-back triples. And an excellent start in the first quarter for the Bulldogs.
That's the hot spot for her, top of the key. She's 2 for 2 there.
Setting up their own 2-3 zone. Akuso, nowhere to go with it. Johnson turns the corner, goes off the window, misses, but gets back to the free throw line.
Yeah, she has been a key part of the Gales getting anything going offensively with her drives to the basket, creating some fouls, along with Akuso getting one to fall. Really, you gotta go to those 2 big guns. I know it's nice to try to get everybody involved, but I would create a 2-player game, an isolation game to get Johnson and Akuso going.
So Salenbine picks up for her first personal, 13 foul against Gonzaga as Johnson drops home the first.
Yeah, Johnson 76% on free throws this year, 75.6.
Now, St. Mary's has a team a little bit above 70, and it's kind of been a tale of 2 halves to their season. In conference play, their numbers have looked completely different than what they did before, as well as their win total. And so, this is St. Mary's team that was predicted to finish 8th in the preseason poll. Gonzaga obviously first, coming off the back-to-back conference championships. And so St. Mary's in many ways a barometer test, as this is the first of 2 meetings this year against the reigning champs. There's a 3-point shot on the way, and Betancourt misses. Foy grabs the long rebound.
Yeah, it's a measuring stick game. Came up short, unfortunately, against Oregon State, another measuring stick game, but this is a chance to see what you've learned from that.
Schaaf, front rim, Ejim again there for the rebound.
To see what you've learned from that road trip, the tough road trip at Portland and Oregon State, and also where you've come as far as a program in the past year.
Yeah, second year in the Kamen era. Really all about building blocks. A big fan of the process, but not the 76ers. Ejim with her third bucket. She's got 6 points already. Again, needs 15 and is now 9 away from becoming the all-time program points leader.
Jada Hunter almost broke the ball free. Knocked it loose there from Ejim, but Ejim's so strong she was able to recover.
Yeah, the combination of size, finesse, touch, just a perfect package as far as the score is concerned as Hunter fades away and misses. Rebound to Salenbein. Has already hit 2 from the top of the key. No hesitation. St. Mary's dodges a bullet, but Ejim enters and puts it up off the window. 8 first quarter points for Ejim.
Yeah, it's tough if she's going to be singled up. You almost really have to bring the double team to her.
A 20-point first quarter for Gonzaga as Kurkowski steps back and misses on the 3. St. Mary's 1 of 12 to start on offense. Salenbein, long 2, no good. Gonzaga crashing the boards, and there's a foul, and that'll take it the opposite direction.
None of the Gales' leading scorers on the floor right now, though Akuso about to check back in, as is Kennedy Johnson. So tried to buy a little time there, did Coach Cameron, to give his 2 brightest offensive stars a chance to catch their breath, stay out of foul trouble.
14 fouls against Gonzaga now, so 1 away from the bonus with 51.1 left in the quarter. Also, O'Connor picks up her 2nd personal.
Now, can the Gales close this gap with Ejim off the floor? And it's probably just going to be these last 40-plus seconds she's going to rest and may start the second quarter. What can the Gales do with it, though?
Quick hands by Little to knock that out of bounds. No, it's kind of those mini small bursts of rest, sort of cheat the clock, if you will.
Exactly.
At the end of the quarter coming up. 20-second separation, shot clock and game clock. St. Mary's still has a chance for a 2-for-1 if they want it. Doesn't look like they'll get it, though. Schaaf, met by 2 Bulldogs. And I don't think that Betancourt threw it off of Schaaf. It'll stay here. 7 seconds on the shot clock.
Great defense from Taylor Dalton. Battling with Akuso down low. Now switches over to Hunter.
We've seen that before. Akuso curls off, 5 to shoot. Betancourt staying in front. Akuso down low to Johnson. Manages to maneuver around a couple of defenders, but leaves the reverse layup short.
It was good help defense that time from the Bulldogs.
Clock is dark now. Gonzaga with a fantastic first quarter. Schaaf disrupts that. It'll be out of bounds with 1 second left in the period.
Great read there from Schaaf defensively. Good anticipation. Stuck with her player and trailed and made the right play.
1.0 on the ticker. Dalton curls, heaves it up, and puts it in. What an end of the quarter for Gonzaga, if it will count. It's a 2 and a 22 first quarter opening period for Gonzaga. What an end. That will send us to the second. They'll go to review and check it out, and we'll let you know on the other side. But 53% of the first for Gonzaga. We have the second coming up next here live in Moraga on ESPN+. Yes, they do. Welcome back to Moraga here in courtside inside of UCU Pavilion. Evan Giddings alongside Tim Fitzgerald with you on ESPN+. And Fitz, about as good of a first period you could hope for if you're the road team. Meanwhile, the home team It's a 1 for 13 start on offense.
Yeah, compared to the 10 for 19 for the Zags, including 2 of 5 from downtown. Taylor Dalton, that heave, that turning, curling shot, foot on the line to beat the buzzer. I've seen those from her in practice before. She can pull off some tough angle shots. She's battling with Kennedy Johnson down low.
And the Gonzaga defense has been swarming as they nearly force another turnover. And in fact, they do, because the possession arrow is in favor of the team in black. But St. Mary's has really struggled to kind of crack this 2-3 zone code. Meanwhile, Gonzaga offensively, though they've been a top-tier three-point shooting team, they've really done most of their damage inside. 10 points in the paint.
Yeah, Gales need some zone busters. They need some threes against the Gonzaga zone defense. And it's been a lot of one-on-one ability inside for Gonzaga.
That shot is off for McKinley Dalen, pardon me, as Johnson tries her hand at a three and rolls it in. Just what the doctor ordered.
Yeah, St. Mary's really needed that. At least get one on the board. Maybe create some offensive momentum out of it.
So 6 of the 8 points now belong to Kennedy Johnson. Dalen over to Betancourt at the free throw line. Little drives into Afiaki, too strong. Shot fighting for the rebound. Ends up with Dalton. Steps inside for a long two. Cannot connect. This time, Schaaf comes away with it, and a foul underneath against Gonzaga.
Yeah, Gales have had some bounces not go their way on the defensive rebounding side. This time, Dube pulled one down and get the foul on top of it. And it came so close to having the first defensive rebound of that possession as well. But you credit the Zags for keeping that alive and hustling to create a shot for Dalton.
See Emily Foyne checking in for Schaaf. Also, Yvonne Ejim has already got 8 points and 5 rebounds. Returns for Gonzaga. Johnson stops, rolls it around, and drops it in. A nice start to the second period for Kennedy Johnson.
I like the little handoff play Alcuso and Johnson did. I would use those two off of each other like that. Use your two of your top scorers like that, and you may see some fakes off of that later.
Ejim comes up short. Cuso tips it right to Dalton, who had it, I think, deflected by Foy.
Well, it was almost another tough luck defensive rebound that the Gales weren't able to corral. Luckily, they were able to knock it out of the hands of Dalton, who you can see is dealing with some wrist tape on each side around the thumbs. She was working on that pregame.
Johnson unable to hit there. Well, that is kind of what always felt like a calling card of Taylor Dalton. Some sort of bandage, some sort of bruise. I mean, it's just a reflection of how aggressive she is, how much she puts and leaves on the hardwood.
Yeah, very gritty player.
Again, transferring after 4 seasons with St. Mary's. That is stripped away from Little, and here's Foy. Hunter trying to go baseline, and there's Dalton. Drawing the offensive foul as Hunter pushes off.
Yeah, just a little too much offhand pushing out there. Dalton knows how to sell that as the cagey veteran that she is.
So Hunter will go to the bench. And it's going to be Moriana Ashmianor who's going to check in for the first time. So Ashmianor will check in and try and get in the grill of one of the sharpshooting freshmen. Allie Turner has had a quiet start to the game. Has been one of the most lethal shooters in the conference. And a bad miss, a rare miss from Yvonne Ejim.
She was too open. I think that's what threw her off there. Wow, I'm this open, this close.
Dalton fires at the end of the shot clock, hits rim, and it's going to be out of bounds. They're going to rule that off of Johnson.
Boy, tough break again for the Gales on a defensive rebound. Just can't get the bounce to go their way. But a good job by Dalton to try to get a shot off before the buzzer there.
Little, who hit the deck hard, is up and all right. Oh for 6 start to the quarter for Gonzaga. Still looking for the Bulldogs' first points. They're a team that Again, will put up 70 plus of the best of them, but they have allowed close to 65 points per game defensively. Ejim stops and hits right through the chest of Afiaki. Already 10 points in the game for Ejim.
Did just enough to stay under control there and not commit an offensive foul.
Akuso dumps it up Afiaki. Nice delivery and touch.
Akuso draws so much attention, and a great no-look pass.
And Johnson beats Salenbein to the spot and forces it off of Gonzaga. That's St. Mary's basketball, much to the dismay of the Bulldogs.
Yeah, the Zags want the officials to confer over it.
Unfortunately, I don't know who else would have a better angle to make that call.
Agreed.
Whether it's correct or not.
Call stands.
So a strong start to the second period for St. Mary's. Aishmin Orr, the freshman from Portland, Oregon, directing traffic here. A couple of capable passers now as Akuso works in the high post, steps through and drops it in.
Z starting to find her groove a little bit when she got that first jumper to rattle home, and now a turnover forced.
Aishmin Orr with the takeaway off the inbounds, a 9-2 start to the quarter for St. Mary's. Foy backing down Salenbein, turns, fades, pure, pretty shot from Foy.
The slick fake of the pass there, showing the go. Nice fadeaway, got that to roll home. Second time she's tried that shot tonight.
It went down double digits in a hurry. They've now trimmed it to 8 here midway through the second. Deep three from Salenbein, no good. Aishmin Orr the rebound. St. Mary's looking to run. Foy out ahead, off the window, and it's good. A 13-2 St. Mary's run. Timeout Gonzaga.
Like Gales needed that to roll home to finish off that break. And a very adamant Coach 48 trying to get that timeout.
That will take us to the media here in the second period. St. Mary's down 17 at the beginning of this period. 5 minutes later, they're down by single digits. Back with more after this in Moraga on ESPN+. Pavilion, Evan Giddings and Tim Fitzgerald with you on ESPN+. A very different second quarter for St. Mary's compared to the first. After just one field goal fits in the first period, through 5 minutes of just the second, they've gone 6 of 7.
8-0 run over the last minute 16, 4 of their last 4. A completely different feel right now in this second quarter.
And so what once was a 17-point Gonzaga lead has now been trimmed to 6 already. And St. Mary's has made this a game against the top dog, or bulldog, I should say, in the conference. A 9-game win streak for Gonzaga. St. Mary's has not beaten Gonzaga here in Moraga since 2020 as Betancourt glides in the cup and breaks that 8-0 run.
Yeah, in my 4 years of working at St. Mary's, I've never beaten Gonzaga on the women's side, so I would love to see that snapped here this evening.
Aishmin Orr, who came in a couple of minutes ago, helping to trigger this St. Mary's surge. And the fact that they can take Akuso off the ball, have a couple of kind of point hybrid guards on the floor, has seemed to aid the Gills' effort. Akuso pulls up and rattles it in.
All night, I would keep working the ball to her, let her isolate in that free throw line area. She has money from that range.
Meanwhile, Gonzaga is looking to provide Yvonne Ejim with some help. Right now, 10-6. She goes to the corner. Salenbein lost it. Who else? Aishmin Orr with the takeaway. Already a pair of steals off the bench.
Yeah, a couple of big takeaways in the moment that they happen, creating some momentum off an inbound after scoring and then preventing a score here.
Kurkowski now gives it up. Then to shoot, Aishmin Orr burrows her way to the rim, floater off the mark. Nice box out there by Turner, and it's Gonzaga basketball.
Yeah, I don't mind her taking that one there, considering the defensive plays she's made. She's got little bounce to her right now. Give that a shot, but really you want things to try to run through Alcuso or now Kennedy Johnson back in.
Yeah, Johnson will return. Gonzaga keeping its same 5 on the floor.
Edie Clark in for the Gales. She's an interesting player. She, runs well for someone at her height, her speed. It's just a matter of defensive awareness coming around for the freshman.
And Clark standing 6'4". She, along with Nadia Bernard, the 2 listed tallest players on the roster, is Betancourt, all nylon. Betancourt off the bench. Nice 8 minutes for Gonzaga.
Yeah, the Portugal native, a transfer from UConn. And
of course, their program speaks for itself. Johnson off the mark, but Gonzaga has really been, on both sides, somewhat of the crown jewel of West Coast basketball, especially in the last couple of seasons here in the WCC. 3 straight conference championships. Last year, nearly a flawless season, making it all the way to the Sweet 16 where they lost to then number 1 Texas. And here's a foul off the ball against St. Mary's. It'll be their second team foul.
Coach Kamen really wanted a double dribble there on Allie Turner coming up the floor. Didn't get the call, and instead a foul on the Gales.
It's going to be on Foy, her first, as Little returns for Salenbein. Turner triggers. Johnson in the grill of Ejim, who forces the contact and puts it in. An and 1 opportunity for Yvonne Ejim. And now 12 points, 3 away from becoming the all-time program points leader.
Not only does she score and rebound, she's an 80% free throw shooter.
Just a quick 12-7 to begin the game for Ejim as Alcuso.
Calgary native. Yeah, Alcuso back in. Ejim, from a big family in Calgary. She attended a Steve Nash camp at age 7, and she sort of sparked her love of basketball.
And now up to 13 points. Gives Gonzaga a 12-point lead here. So St. Mary's trying to dig themselves out of the early hole. Gonzaga looking to put them right back in it.
Yeah, it's a big response here from the Zags. Go right back up 12 after it was down to a 6-point game.
Alcuso from the corner tries to go baseline, finds some room. No foul, but still manages to score. And then Johnson steals it in transition. Gonzaga trying to go fast. Instead, it's St. Mary's who returns the favor. Clark lays it in.
There's Edie Clark running the floor. For a player her size, she's sort of gazelle-like out there. She can really run down the floor.
Betancourt into the lane, over to Dalton, wide open for 3. No good. Ejim had it tipped and Little recovers.
Just that subtle bit of corralling the rebound there for Ejim to create that second opportunity.
For the record, and there's a new top Bulldog in town. Yvonne Ejim, the all-time Gonzaga leading scorer. 2,166 points.
What a career for the 5th-year senior.
15 points in her first 17 minutes of this game, all in the first half. Johnson trying to work on Ejim. Good defense as she misses. There's a foul underneath, and that will be the 4th on St. Mary's because Cuso picks it up. Second personal. So a couple of punches being thrown back and forth proverbially here in this second quarter. And St. Mary's has awoken offensively.
And I feel like it woke up the Zags. They sort of sleptwalked through the beginning of the first bit of the second quarter.
Ejim off the mark, and Johnson gets the rebound. St. Mary's can essentially hold for 1 shot. About 4.5 seconds separating shot clock and game clock here. Akuso with 6 to work. Swings it to the corner. Betancourt tipped it, and it's going to stay with St. Mary's.
Just 3 on the shot clock now for the Gales. I like that Akuso saw the open Foy in the corner, tried to skip pass, but I really want her taking that last shot if possible.
And she will inbound here. Inside, Johnson, patient, puts it in. Kennedy Johnson with an excellent end to the first half. 10 points as that one nearly went down. And Gonzaga will take an 8-point lead into the locker room. But St. Mary's stabilizing things after trailing by 17 at the end of one. They trail by 8, headed into the locker room. Your halftime report coming up next here on ESPN Plus. Evan Giddings and Tim Fitzgerald. We're back after this, live in Moraga. Well, it was a seesaw first half for St. Mary's against a very good, top-notch Gonzaga squad. They trail by 8 going into the break, 34-26. Evan Giddings and Tim Fitzgerald with you here on ESPN Plus. And after a first quarter that left a lot to be desired, Fitz, a much better second period for the Gales.
Well, and considering where they were, down 22-5 after 1 quarter of play, just the 1 field goal made in that first quarter, to now be down 8 at this stage, to have cut it to 6 at one point with that big run they had early in the second quarter. That is a big stabilizing run for the Gales, and it gets them at least in this game. When it was 22-5, if you said, well, we'll be down 8 at the half, you take that if you're St. Mary's.
Absolutely. Well, let's take a look at some of those replays that led us to this point in the first half. And as you might guess, a lot of Gonzaga, especially from Yvonne Ejim.
Yeah, she was a force to be reckoned with from the get-go. Now the Zags' all-time leading scorer, and she just poured it on early. She is a tough player to deal with one-on-one, and you saw the Gales, they had to bring help. You got to have a second player there to even control her.
Well, hard to stop that. That was former St. Mary's Gale Taylor Dalton with a buzzer-beating shot at the end of the first quarter, and then here came St. Mary's. And a 13-2 run to begin the second quarter absolutely got them back into the game, but also woke up Gonzaga a little bit.
It sure did. You were right about punch-counter-punch. It had that feel, a heavyweight fight going on. Zariah Akuso, Gales went to their best moves, their best punches. Emily Foy got fancy out there as well with the little fadeaway. It was getting the Gales going with one of their top weapons in Zariah Akuso, and things sort of filtered off from there. They were able to distribute from there, but you're right, the Zags, it woke them up. That punch that the Gales delivered to start the second quarter definitely brought the Zags back into focus.
No doubt. And St. Mary's, look, this is a team they're trying to beat for the first time in Moraga since 2020. Make no bones about it. This is a matchup that St. Mary's has been looking forward to, playing up in the second quarter, and now it's about what they can do in the second half. But 10 points in the first half from St. Mary's, and Kennedy Johnson opposite Yvonne Ejim pretty much led the way for Gonzaga with 15 and 7. So right now, a couple of forwards going toe-to-toe. But St. Mary's, how can they find and sort of unlock that three-point shot? Neither side really shot it that well in the first half.
Yeah, that's going to be the trick to busting this zone for Gonzaga. They're going to have to try to work that in their inside-out game that they're starting to work on, where Zariah Akuso has some gravity to her and draws attention. Maybe some of the open wing shots will develop from there. At least that's how I would try to create it. I'd get my 2 leading scorers involved. Maya Jones unfortunately got in foul trouble very early in this game with her 2 fouls. She can shoot it from deep. So I would try to get her back involved very early in the second half. That would be move number 1 if I'm the Gales. Go right to trying to get Maya Jones involved, and then having the perimeter get a little active when Johnson and Akuso drive inside.
Well, we're going to talk more about the second half keys and how St. Mary's can not only overcome a 17-point lead, but now just an 8-point lead. 34-26 your score at the half. We'll be back with more at the break live from Moraga. Evan Giddings and Tim Fitzgerald on ESPN+. Welcome back at the break here in Moraga. Evan Giddings and Tim Fitzgerald with you on ESPN+. St. Mary's right now down by 8, 34-26 to Gonzaga. Looking ahead to the third quarter, about 5.5 minutes left between now and then. you'd obviously love to summon more of that energy from the second quarter, which they went 10 of 14 from the floor. But what do you think the difference can be here, Fitz, offensively?
No surprise. It really was the Gales' defense that sparked their offense. They created turnovers. Sashimi and Orr broke up some passes. We saw Kuso make defensive plays. Kennedy Johnson with a big steal as well. That defense did spark the offense. When they created some turnovers, got some stops, that's what got their offense going and created some confidence in their ability to hang in this game. Because Gonzaga was pretty much scoring at will in the first quarter. Then once the Gales made some defensive stops, I think beyond the scoreboard was a big mental boost for them.
Well, and it's kind of interesting because Gonzaga is the team that's won 9 in a row. St. Mary's is the team that's lost their last 3. But both teams quietly during these stretches have played a lot of close games.
Yeah.
5 of the 9 wins for Gonzaga by single digits. Meanwhile, St. Mary's, as we've seen across this year, is a team that has played primarily in single-digit games or overtime affairs. So both of these teams well positioned with what they've been challenged with this season to get to the finish line. It's just a matter of who's going to touch the end line first.
Yeah, absolutely. And Gonzaga, of course, will have an edge of that, not only with the lead right now, but in their experience, the sort of the mojo they've got going on right now with the 9 straight wins. And the Gales, just in their second season under Coach Kamen, still kind of trying to find themselves, their identity, their style, a pretty young team. So for the Gales, we've talked about it with Coach Kamen before. In fact, after the loss to Santa Clara, it's really, they've got to show that killer instinct to be able to put an opponent away if they were to manage to climb ahead and actually get a lead in this game after trimming it down to 6. That was a big accomplishment in and of itself, as right now the Gales are honoring all of their female athletes, all the women athletes, for National Girls and Women in Sports Day, which I love. I love this celebration of this to be a good example. I think that's what I've always found when I talk to female athletes about Girls and Women in Sports Day. Just they really love being able to set an example, and both these teams, Gonzaga and St. Mary's, really setting an example of the top flight of the West Coast Conference in women's basketball right now.
Absolutely. Well, stick around because in just a couple of minutes we'll have a bunch of very competitive women on the other side getting set to go toe-to-toe. That's St. Mary's and Gonzaga. Zag's on top of the Gales right now by a score of 34-26, pardon me. Looking forward to our second half when we return. Evan Giddings and Tim Fitzgerald coming up in just a little bit. It is Bedlam here inside of UCU, and we got more for you. Bedlam, I should say, coming back on ESPN Plus after this. Hello, everyone, and welcome back inside University Credit Union Pavilion. Evan Giddings alongside Tim Fitzgerald with you here on ESPN Plus, getting us set for the second half between St. Mary's and Gonzaga. Well, Gonzaga jumped out to a 17-point lead at the end of one. St. Mary's with a 13-2 spurt helped trim the gap and right now stare at an 8-point deficit. But a brand new ballgame, it appears, Fist. Though Gonzaga obviously has the lead. If St. Mary's, you mentioned, I think appropriately, if you could take the 8-point lead after that start, that's money.
Yeah, absolutely. To be down 22-5 after the first, then to trim it down to 6 at various points in the second, and go into the half down 8 isn't bad. That's something manageable. We see Maya Jones right back into the game. I would try to get her going early if I'm the Gales.
Well, missed most of the first half due to foul trouble, and so back in, a welcome sight for the hometown Gales fan. Good crowd on hand tonight as well here at a pink out in Moraga, as Johnson thought about the 3, penetrates Akuso, who went 3 of 3 in that second quarter at 8 points in the first half. Leaves it for Afiaki, and Johnson cleans it up.
A great job by Johnson again to get an offensive rebound and put it back in.
And meanwhile, on the Gonzaga side, Claire O'Connor, similar to Jones, also in foul trouble early, back in to start this second half. So all 5 starters on the floor for Gonzaga. The one difference for St. Mary's is that basket is waved off. It's going to be side out. Is Moriana Heischmann-Orr is into the 5 along with Afiaki, or 2 of the members of that Gales group that sort of helped spurt that second quarter run.
Yeah, trying to keep that same energy going in for Schaaf and Jada Hunter.
O'Connor's first 3, no good. Long rebound to Akuso. Out ahead, Jones. Easy money.
That's exactly what she needed and the Gales needed. Just have her get an easy bucket, a nice transition layup, see it go through, and things could really roll from there for her.
The on-ball pressure You can tell the energy level beginning to rise here inside of UCU, and O'Connor wasn't looking for it. That's a turnover.
A little unforced error right there, a miscommunication going on between Little and O'Connor, and they're still discussing it. Ejim coming in to try to help figure out what happened there as well.
Well, Ejim, the fifth-year player, of course, who just broke the all-time program scoring record, 2,166 points she's got in her storied career. But Little, along with O'Connor, a senior and sophomore, do have two underclassmen in the starting five for Gonzaga, the other being the true freshman in Allie Turner. And St. Mary's as a whole, either a brand new or young group. Jones, one of them, off the mark there. Johnson looked like she was jockeying with Akuso for the rebound, and it's off of both of them.
I really liked that Jones took that three from the top of the key, didn't go for it, and it was just unfortunate. That was friendly fire right there. The same teammates right there in Johnson and Akuso both had a hand on that rebound and lost it. Well, again, the Zags run that same play. They're trying to set this screen with Taylor Dalton underneath to free Ejim right there on the near side for us in the paint. And the second time they've gotten a foul out of it.
Going to be the second personal on Afiaki. Second team foul for St. Mary's, less than 2 minutes into this third period. Double team comes.
It's been a very physical contest between these two rivals.
And of course, the men's St. Mary's team beat Gonzaga in this very gym less than a week ago on Saturday. Ejim off the mark there. He makes a nice play in transition, manages to keep it in. Loose on the deck, Johnson trying to win it. Jones is fouled out near the midline.
Absolute chaos right there. Absolute chaos. Jones comes away with it there, but there's that physicality I was just talking about. A lot of scrapping and fighting for loose balls, and at least came out right there for the Gales in this possession. Ejim almost made a fantastic defensive stop.
Well, and it feels like as Salenbine, who had a lot of success in that opening period, is going to check in for O'Connor. And the previous play, I guess, is going to be under review as to who it was out off of. So we're going to take a look at that.
Yeah. Interesting. I thought Jones drew that foul there. You know, you mentioned the game between, on the men's side, they broke a big NBA trade during that one. We're not going to have to do that for this one with the trade deadline passing and the big trade happening yesterday locally.
You know, it's interesting. I don't want to dive too deep into what I believe about deadlines, but this is, of course, the WNBA offseason, and there's been a lot of interesting moves that have gone on. And it does feel like, I don't know if it's a trade season, transaction season, but if they would like to hold off for the next hour, I wouldn't be opposed to it, Fitz, as we can just focus on the top billing in town.
Yes.
That is St. Mary's and Gonzaga.
Right here in front of us. And it's been quite a battle here already here in this quarter. Not sure what is actually being reviewed in this, and if we've potentially gone to a media timeout. Not sure right now at the moment.
Well, it doesn't appear so.
Okay. So we'll stick with it.
Haven't gotten any signal of one. And right now at the monitor.
Yeah, the officials look like they made up their mind.
So Marissa Cannon was over taking a look at, along with Michael Murray and Mark Harmon. On now, and
so a foul on the floor. Has been confirmed.
Okay.
Yeah.
And now they might have sent it to a media timeout. I'm not so sure. Shout
out to our producer, Emily Smith, who tried to tell us. We should have listened. It's okay. But there was a lot of still, I thought it was going to be a quick review, but they did send us to a media timeout without any official word there.
Well, maybe we can take a quick break and step aside here on ESPN+.
All right.
Well, like, So after the review and media timeout, it'll be St. Mary's ball. Confirmed side out with under 8 to play here in the third. And St. Mary's has trimmed what once was a 17-point deficit down to 4. And Ejim comes over to knock that one out on Akuso. It's going to stay with St. Mary's.
She was ready for that drive from Akuso, and it just shows how much Ejim can do. What an all-around player she is.
First block of the evening to go along with 15 points and 7 rebounds in that first half. Jones turns the corner, gets all the way to the cup and lays it in.
A little show and go from Maya Jones, and that's good to see her going early in this second half.
Sallenbein, who checked in right before the stoppage, takes it at Jones, and that's going to be a blocking foul, and that will be Jones's third.
Boy, that's a tough break, Jones. I thought she had good positioning. I would have just no-called that personally. Just sort of a typical collision. They each hit the deck.
Also the third team foul against St. Mary's, so the whistle is piling up to begin the second half. As Sallenbein, who had a 6-point first quarter after hitting back-to-back threes in that opening period, will get to the free throw line and knocks down the first.
Yeah, she had a couple of heat checks in there afterwards, too. Still stuck on those 2 3-pointers.
Well, that is something interesting about Gonzaga. Again, they're the #1 3-point shooting team in the conference by a long shot, as Foy's going to check back in for the Gales. But tonight, not just the lack of makes, but 11 attempts of their 36. It feels like they haven't really fired that many threes, especially after that first period.
Yeah, Gales have done a much better job closing out since then.
Meanwhile, St. Mary's has been picky about when they've opted to attack from distance. Eshmanor into Johnson, who gives it right back. Johnson dives inside, lost it. Ejin comes away with it.
Great play by Betancourt.
The Euro step, maybe an extra step, but she lays it in.
When you do it that quickly, you're that smooth at it, it can be tough for the officials to catch it.
And Maya Jones is leaping off the bench, twirling the fingers as if to say there might have been 3 there, but either way, 17 points in 21 minutes for Ejim. And there's a foul away from the ball. So that'll be the second team foul on Gonzaga. First on Betancourt. Johnson again in traffic, manages to recover it. Akuso diving inside, leaves it short, but is fouled.
Good job with the hesitation that time from Akuso, getting the defender up, then heading up to try to take that shot. Great way to draw that foul, get her to the line.
Akuso really heated up in that second quarter, and along with Jones and Johnson, one of the 3 double-digit scores per game during conference play, but obviously spent the majority of the first half of this season sort of on a minutes restriction, working her way back from a meniscus injury last year. She suffered towards the end of the season, but about as 100% as ever.
Getting there, we've seen her minutes increase, and yeah, definitely improving. Wow, and such a good free throw shooter. We've seen her close out games with her at the line in clutch moments. Missed them both there.
The reigning WCC Freshman of the Year, Sallenbein, receives it all the way back.
Zags trying to swing things side to side to find an opening against this Gales defense.
They're swarming, though, moving to the rock. They finally find the open shooter, Betancourt, off the front of the rim, and it's tipped to Akuso.
Gales have gotten it down to 4. They're down 6 right now. Can they get over that hump and make it a one-possession game?
They can cut it in half as Emily Foy triggers the triple.
There it is, one-possession game, 3-point game.
Just the second 3-point make of the game for St. Mary's. Johnson's got the other. 2 of 5 as a team, as there's a steal from Foy on the deck with Ejim, and the possession arrow will keep it on this side.
Love the hustle there from Foy, and The way the Gales are swarming to the ball, trying to break up passes. I feel like, Evan, they're applying the mantra, the mental aspect I was talking about in the pregame since that second quarter. They've played pretty fearless. They've kept their nose down, played it like it's tied. They've really relished the opportunity and eager to take it to the Zags.
Yeah, after taking that initial punch, and Yvonne Ejim continues to pour it on, now 19 points.
You just can't give her any space. She's the tiniest bit of space, she can face up and hit it.
Turner back in for Gonzaga, along with Dalen. Meanwhile, it's Hunter and Schaff back in for St. Mary's as Heischmanor makes a nice move to the rack.
Another good aggressive take for her to the basket. I like the confidence.
There's a deep one. Betancourt, no good. Schaff rises for the rebound. Foy with a head of steam stops, just misses the three. Not a good look. Has probably been the Gales' best three-point shooter over the totality of this season. 37, 38% for most of the year. Turner's been Gonzaga's best three-point shooter, but misses there.
Yeah, they've kept Turner off the board.
That's going to be St. Mary's ball. It's off of Ejim. And that is going to take us to immediate timeout. 4:26 remaining here in the third period. Gonzaga only a three-point lead against St. Mary's here on the road. We're back with more after this on ESPN+. Midway through the third period here in Moraga. Evan Giddings alongside Tim Fitzgerald with you on ESPN+. A three-point game. St. Mary's down 40-37. And as Heischmanor brings it into the front court for the Gales, has been really a nice addition alongside Akuso since coming in midway through the second.
Ejim gonna guard Akuso.
Foy from three, front rim. And nice positioning from Shaw, forces a third foul against Claire O'Connor. Just checked back in and immediately picks up the whistle.
Yeah, both she and Maya Jones, each team has had one of their better players been dealing with foul trouble all game.
And Dalton is going to check right back in for O'Connor. A tough night for the Southpaw. So under 4 to go now here in the period. Eichmanor to Akuso. He gets her pocket picked by Turner. Nice play from the freshman.
Turner from my neck of the woods. St. Louis native, went to John Burroughs, where an old friend of mine from college at SLU, Corey Frazier, coached. John Burroughs now coaches with OTE down in Atlanta.
Well, Turner's been turning heads this season with what she's done from the three-point line. Steps inside it and knocks in her first jump shot.
Elbow jumper that time. Gets her on the board scoring-wise.
He's got 66 three-point makes this year. That is #1 among all freshmen in collegiate basketball. He's been averaging 13 points a game this season for Gonzaga, so an excellent addition and recruiting job by the 11th year head coach Lisa Fortier. Makes it a 5-point cushion again. Akuso trying to thread the needle, and it's stolen by Ejim. Ejim stops at the free throw line and knocks it down. Cool, calm, and collected.
You got a pull-up jumper game from just inside the arc. That is impressive.
I mean, she's been all but automatic. 10 of 17 from the floor, now into the 20s. 21 points on the night. Hunter tries to respond and cannot. Dalton clears the glass.
Ejim, a lot of her moves, her ability, the shooting, touch, a lot of it says professional.
No doubt about it. And Johnson and Jones are going to check back in for St. Mary's. Again, Maya Jones with 3 personal fouls. Meanwhile, Esther Little will come back in for Gonzaga. And then a late substitution, Afiaki, for the Gales.
So St. Mary's trying to keep 2 of their best 3 scorers out there at a time.
Turner saw one go down, immediately triggers the triple, and it's back to a 10-point Gonzaga lead.
Yeah, quick release. After getting that elbow jumper to go, after forcing a turnover, she could get hot quickly.
Jones trying to respond and does. St. Mary's needed that.
She needs to shoot as much as possible while she's in this game dealing with the 3 fouls. Maximize her offense.
Betancourt takes a nice screen over to Turner. No hesitation and nothing but nylon. She scored the last 8 for the Bulldogs.
You're right, Evan. She saw the elbow jumper go in, and now the quick release on the 3s with any opening. Feeling it right now.
Well, it's kind of curious at the half. You look at the box score, you see not only no points, but the field goal attempts. And the fact that she's a shooter in every essence of the word. Just a matter of time as Johnson, such physicality, gets to the strike.
Yeah, Turner committing the foul that time, it looked like.
And that's also the 15th foul against Gonzaga. So free throws from here on out across the last minute and a half for St. Mary's.
That's a big opportunity for the Gales to score with the clock stopped. Can they take advantage of this?
Well, Johnson 3 of 4 so far tonight at the free throw line. In and out on the first, and it's kind of one of those Kennedy Johnson games. A quiet 12 points, and she's been around 12 to the 15 range for the majority of the season, but has not scored double digits her last 2 contests, so a nice resurgent performance for Kennedy, who splits.
At least gets one of those 2. Gales are going to need more than that. Got to hit them.
Yeah, they're 4 of 8 as a team. Well, Betancourt nearly lost the handle. Like holding a boiling tea kettle. Gives it up to Turner. Jones trying to cut off the airspace. Nice play by Johnson.
Eyes in the back of her head. She knew that pass was coming. Poked it away.
Foy, no hesitation. Too strong. Ball tipped right to Dalton. And here comes Gonzaga. 2-on-1. Dalton, a nifty pass inside. And a beautiful finish there by Dalen.
Zags have reclaimed momentum. Gales going a little cold offensively. I like, trying to take some of these outside shots, but they need to come with the flow of the offense a little better, a little more inside out for the Gales.
A strong finish to this third period for Gonzaga, the top team in the WCC. They've won 9 in a row. Trying to make it an even 10. Foy to Johnson, 5 to shoot. In the paint, stops, fades, leaves it short. And then gets tangled up. St. Mary's will keep it, and they'll get the final shot of the third period.
Great hustle by Johnson to try to recover there, force that jump.
Akuso and Ejim come back in for their respective teams as Afiaki and Turner will go to the bench. 13.2 left. Shot clock is dark for St. Mary's. No one guarding the inbounder. Akuso with 6 to work with. Johnson for 3 from the corner. Egypt might have got a piece of that, and so St. Mary's in empty possession to end the third. Meanwhile, Gonzaga finishes the quarter 5 of 5 from the floor. An 11-point Gonzaga lead as we head to the fourth. Evan Giddings and Tim Fitzgerald back with you inside of UCU Pavilion after this on ESPN+. Well, we are set for the start of the fourth quarter here in Moraga. St. Mary's now down by 11. Did a nice job of, again, pushing Gonzaga right to the brink. We saw them down by 6, at one point down to 4, but unable to get over that hump. And then that final wave of the third period, Fitz, Gonzaga turned it on.
Yeah, and Emily Foy 3 at the top of the key at one point, made it a one-possession game, a 3-point game, but the Zags just recovered from there.
Well, hopefully a good start to the fourth quarter for St. Mary's here as Jones drives in transition. The hoop and the harm as Turner commits the foul, and Jones will go to the free throw line.
first and third quarters kind of playing out similarly. Maybe the Gales can get the second and the fourth to match up, spark something here with defense leading to offense, and get Maya Jones going.
Yeah, it was 40-37 after a Heischmann-Orr layup with 5 minutes left, and then Gonzaga went on a 7-0 run to kind of separate. And so St. Mary's, really after that first period, they have thrown the first punch at the beginning of quarters. As Jones at the line, knocks it down, and so a good start for St. Mary's. Gales looking for their first win against Gonzaga here in Moraga since 2020.
Yeah, I thought we might see a trap from the Gales.
Turner, who had 8 points in the third quarter alone, gives it up. The freshman sharpshooter.
Gales asking Maya Jones to cover a lot of ground.
They're trying to get right in the grill of Gonzaga. Ejim's got 3 to work with. Might have had it touched and tipped by Schaff. Now a 3-on-1. Jones forced to slow things up. Akuso, in fact, looks to go quickly and knocks it down.
She's got such a great array of moves, pull-up, turnaround shots, and it's going to force a quick timeout from the Zags.
No doubt about it. Gonzaga and Lisa Fortier trying to put a pin in that St. Mary's run right now. 8:50 to play here in the fourth quarter, and again, right back to a 6-point lead. And that'll send us to immediate timeout as we'll step aside and be back with more after this from Moraga on ESPN+. Welcome back to Moraga here. Evan Giddings alongside Tim Fitzgerald with you on ESPN+. St. Mary's with the first 5 of the fourth quarter. They've trimmed it to a 6-point Gonzaga lead.
Again. Can they get over the hump? They trimmed it to 3 a couple of times in this contest in the third.
So Salenbein back on the floor for Gonzaga. Has played the majority of the minutes off the bench along with Betancourt as Turner goes inside, leaves the floater short. Schaff shuffles it right to Turner and a second chance opportunity.
That was something that bit the Gales in the first quarter, just defensive rebounds. They couldn't quite corral off their fingertips and would roll right to the Zags.
Ejim has been lethal as a scorer, nearly able to create a scoring opportunity as a passer, and now there's a foul underneath.
And that's the risk you take when you double team Ejim, but I would still do it. I don't blame the Gales for doubling right there at all. Worked out, the shot was missed. It just unfortunately a loose ball foul.
It's going to be the second personal on Foy. First team foul for St. Mary's. Also one at Gonzaga early in the fourth. Ejim creating space, but before so, it's a travel.
Yeah, slid that back foot as she leaned forward.
Well, Ejim, who was a terror in the first half. 15 of her now 21 points. A little quiet to begin the second half. St. Mary's doing a nice job, not really, of course, stopping her wholly, but just making her work harder. You can see it.
Collapsing on her, literally trying to contain her, box her in.
And now Ejim forces Akuso out of bounds.
Wow, Gale's coaching staff really wanted a foul there. I could see why.
Some contact, but then again, you mentioned this in the third quarter, Fitz. These referees have kind of set a tone. They're letting both of these teams play, and if that's the way it's going to be called, then I can understand that.
Yeah, they've let the physicality go between these rivals.
Betancourt to a wide open Little. Leaves it short, goes up, got blocked from behind by Foy, but Johnson, there's contact underneath.
I like Johnson's recovery there to make a play. Just unfortunately, Foy whistled for the foul on that block attempt.
So Little would get to the free throw line. This season, just 3 of 8 at the stripe. He throws in the first. I mean, whether it's been off the bench or as a starter, has played big minutes this season. He goes 2 of 2. Betancourt got caught in the backcourt. Johnson with a nice screen from Jones, goes all the way to the rim.
Well, you're right, Evan. That was a solid screen from Maya Jones. solid and legal.
Salenbein to Turner. She's been a sniper in this second half and continues to rain it down. 3 threes in the second half for the true freshman. Foy looking to respond, cannot.
That's been the difference, unfortunately, in this second half. Have just not been able to answer. And now Johnson's going to get whistled on that loose ball. Well, we went from having a let him play now to a little tighter set of calls.
Yeah, I was just going to say, you can kind of understand the frustration from St. Mary's, considering 2 possessions ago what happened to Akuso. So it's going to be now 3 team fouls against the Gales. That's the 3rd personal on Johnson. Turner now effectively running point. Schaff forces that of Ejim's hand. Turner, the head fake. And Ejim gets called for the illegal screen. Not gonna lie, didn't see much there, but a little bit of a makeup call perhaps.
Perhaps, calling it a bit tighter now.
2nd team foul against Ejim, and only her 1st personal.
Not much of a complaint from the Gonzaga bench, so we'll go with that. Gales taking their time here. Really don't have that sort of luxury.
Jones along 2. Too strong. Johnson there nearly has it. It's been that kind of night for St. Mary's in the offensive glass. Betancourt has that disrupted by Akuso.
Good recovery there by the Gales to keep that from being an easy transition bucket.
Now Afiaki's gonna tag in for Schaff. And pretty much everyone just taking turns on trying to defend Ejim. And Coach Kamen making sure that all of them are fresh.
Yeah, got to throw the kitchen sink at her. Several sinks.
Turner wide open. She's been automatic in this second half. Now up to 13 points.
The microwave just quickly heating up with that quick release.
And such a revelation in her freshman season. Coach Kamen's going to call time with 5 minutes and 47 seconds left here in the 4th quarter. So the Gales trying to weather this storm as Gonzaga has created a little bit of separation here with 5 minutes and 47 seconds left.
Yeah, Gales want to weather this storm, and then they've got a big test at home against Washington State coming up. Oregon State to follow, so taking on the old Pac-12ers in their next 2 contests.
And the Pac-2ers, depending on who you ask.
Exactly. Meanwhile, the Gales right back here at home against USF this coming Saturday.
I mean, St. Mary's pretty much officially halfway through the conference schedule, but they Gonzaga again, and kind of the way their schedule worked out, backloaded with a lot of those top-tier opponents, at least the ones that have separated themselves. They get a good USF team on Saturday that's been hurt by injury, so an opportunity for them during this 3-game homestand to build some momentum, but that's a tough break as Little had that one gifted to her.
Yeah, those are the mistakes you can't have as you try to claw back in this down 11.
Oh, Ejim nearly had that ball thrown into Jones. There's a travel. Meanwhile, Gonzaga has got a couple of quality opponents coming up in Washington State.
Yeah.
In Oregon State. I mean, both of these teams really, you know, this conference has been a bit of a roller coaster ride this year. Again, before St. Mary's 3-game losing streak, this was a team that was kind of in the midst of a 4-way top tie as Foy fades and fires.
Yeah, just 3-4 games ago, they were 7-2, tied with the Zags. Gonzaga beat Pepperdine that day, and Santa Clara beat the Gales, and that's what has created the divergent path since then.
St. Mary's I mean, at the beginning of this year, they were at 5-2. There was a 5-way tie for first place as Ejim gets fouled. And, of course, she's been the primary reason why Gonzaga has been able to separate themselves. And looking for a third straight conference crown as Turner checks back in, but got to credit the job that Lisa Fortier has done with this program in Spokane.
Yeah, this is going to be quite the finish. And, the Pac-12ers, the Pac-2 that have been added to the conferences really added some sizzle to this standings battle here. You still got the old guard, Gonzaga and Portland fighting it out. Portland, they're a tough matchup.
Yeah.
Gales are going to have to deal with them a week from tonight, and they really take it to their opponents. They've got a big margin of victory in their favor.
McKinley Dalen is going to tag in for Ejim as St. Mary's returns Heischmanor after the 2 free throws. Gonzaga up by 11 with 4.5 to go. It looked like they might have some more as Betancourt strips Akuso, goes in, leaves it off the left side. Dalen cleans it up.
Zags taking advantage of these Gales miscues. Immediately points off of turnovers.
Akuso from the corner, no good. Jones there, scores, but is fouled on the floor beforehand.
Yeah, that must have been on the rebound rather than the shot.
So it's going to be the third team foul on Gonzaga for Dalen. That's her second. I mean, Gonzaga's committed more turnovers than St. Mary's in terms of points off turnovers. Pretty even tonight, 16-15. And there's a foul away from the ball, and it's going to go against St. Mary's and Heischmanor.
Yeah, it's really just been that little edge in quantity for the Zags. 25 of 53 to the Gales, 21 of 49. A big disparity at the free throw line. St. Mary's 5 of 9, 7 of 7 for the Zags, and really the three-point shooting has been telltale here.
Yeah. Now the difference in the second half, honestly, has been the woman with the ball right now, number 11, Allie Turner. She has taken the baton from Ejim, who did most of the scoring in the first half, and Turner has really picked it up here in the late third and early fourth.
That just shows the versatility of this Zags attack. They come at you from a lot of different directions.
Edie Clark, by the way, back into the game along with Jada Hunter for St. Mary's. Ejim steps back, an air ball, a rare one, and then Jones gets called for the foul, and that will put Gonzaga at the free throw line as Maya Jones picks up her fourth personal.
Yeah, 2 air balls tonight from Ejim. She had that baseline shot that was a little far in the first half, and now that one there. But nonetheless, they have created that separation again. Now a 13-point lead.
Well, and sort of similar to the first period, and quality teams do a good job of opening and finishing. St. Mary's 5 points in the first quarter, just 9 here in the fourth, whereas it felt like the rhythm of the game, the tempo, was a lot higher during the middle periods.
Yes.
Gonzaga's done a good job of slowing things to their pace.
Slowing things down. I feel like they've worn down the Gales a little bit too.
Yeah.
You can see a little fatigue on them.
So Johnson back into the game for St. Mary's. Ejim returns. And also Salenbein for Gonzaga, Heischmanor. And there's a foul against Ejim. That's going to be number 4 on Gonzaga.
Yeah, we've seen a lot more fouls called here in this fourth as well.
Yeah, slowed the game a little bit. It's felt a bit more clunky here in the second half, but still. And again, we kind of talked about this. This is a St. Mary's team that could hold a Gonzaga group to 60 or 70 as Johnson gets fouled and will earn free throws. But the question would be, how much offense could they summon? And it's been a little symbolic of their season, a roller coaster ride.
Yeah, absolutely. Up and down within the game even, and kind of through the season as you're talking about. 6 of 17 from downtown for the Gonzaga Bulldogs. Gales just 3 of 12 from deep.
And Johnson unable to hit the free throw. No, and it's been a little bit of something different in the first quarter. They weren't able to hit a shot. In this quarter, it's been the turnovers that have prevented them from getting extra looks as Johnson splits. That's going to be out of bounds off of Betancourt. So Jada Hunter helps turn over the Bulldogs.
Jada Hunter, she was great at that, hounding the ball.
Kuso back in.
Gales are going to need quick attack type of possessions.
Jones with a nifty pass. I don't know if Heischman thought I was going to make it there. He cannot connect on the three. Tough angle for Jones to thread that pass in as Ejim now going to try and take some time off the clock. Betancourt goes all the way to the rim, too strong. Ejim there off the feed from Little, and it's an easy two. 25 points for Yvonne Ejim.
She really carried the load, as you noted in the first half, Evan. Got the Zags out to their lead.
Quick shot there from Foy is no good. You can kind of feel that tone of defeat setting in for St. Mary's.
Still like the effort there from Shiminor trying to play this thing like it's still tied.
Well, I mean, that's one upside of having a young group. It's that energy. I mean, it's a bit deflating, obviously, right now, the 16-point lead, or deficit, I should say, but this is a young group that you can really tell has sort of taken to the calling of Coach Cam, and they're not going anywhere. If anything, expect a press up until this game is literally over.
Yeah, things still building for this Gales program.
Jones the turnaround.
Whereas things have pretty solidly built for the Zags program, and they just keep adding to it.
No doubt. Coach Cameron, a newcomer in the West Coast Conference, was very successful in the Big West. There's a three-pointer from the former Gale, Taylor Dalton, who misses. There's a foul on the floor. Opposite, I mean, Lisa Fortier has been one of the most successful head coaches. 279 wins since she took over with Gonzaga. An 80 win percentage. It's going to be 280 tonight. But also, I mean, really has had to go through a lot this season. Obviously, it's a pink out night, as you can tell by the shoes, some of the gear that everyone is wearing to honor women in sports here for St. Mary's. But Lisa Fortier underwent and beat breast cancer over this summer. There was a rumor that she might not be able to coach this season.
Yeah.
Talked about coming back. She felt like she owed it to the likes of Ejim and some of the seniors on this team to basically battle off and on the court with her team, and is a symbol of adversity and really what makes this conference great.
Yeah, it's a fitting night that she's here, her team is here when the Gales are having their pink out game and raising awareness and funds to fight breast cancer. St. Mary's program honored her in the pregame before starting lineups. It was a nice moment to see.
So after the free throws, Jones will take a seat with 14 points. And, I mean, a lot of honoring going on tonight as well, honoring the two most successful women's programs here at St. Mary's. Tennis had the highest team GPA, and then softball, who captured last year's conference crown.
Sporting the rings tonight, softball. I'd like to see that. Ejim, that was her first love, in fact, was tennis.
Well, and it's kind of not easy to tell as far as this specific sport, but you get just the balance, the body control, along with the physicality you can obviously see. I mean, two-sport athletes are becoming, I think, less and less frequent. Yeah,
which is unfortunate because I think the repeat injuries pile up if you just play the same sport over and over and over. Ejim played volleyball, she ran track, was in love with tennis early, big fan of the Williams sisters.
But you can see it in her game, the hand-eye coordination, the touch. I mean, really just the complete package.
Yeah, I was the SID for the women's tennis team here at St. Mary's in my time here with my GAs helping me out, Michael Wright, Selena Gomez as well. And yes. And so, that's a good group. They're a smart bunch. I'm glad that they were honored tonight for their accomplishments on and off the court.
No doubt. Johnson's turnaround is off the mark. Ejim, by the way, after the free throws, up to 27 points and 10 rebounds. Another double-double for her. who of course became earlier in this game the all-time Gonzaga leader in points with over 2150 in her career. Over, I think, nearly 70 double-doubles in her career. As Heischmanor out front to Jones, and he gets fouled. He'll go back to the free throw line.
It's a bit of a dangerous foul here late in the game, 49 seconds and a 14-point contest. I'm glad Maya's all right.
And so Coach Kamen's going to empty the bench here. Clark along with Hunter return. And the first spotting from Sasha Murphy, the junior and UC Riverside transfer.
Yeah, she must be checking in for Jones at the line. Ejim and Dalton check out.
Meanwhile, Dalton, and Ejim will take their final breather, and Jones knocks down the free throw.
Yeah, you talked about Coach Kamen building his program here. I call it Kamen Ball, his style of play.
Well, it is very reminiscent of a cannonball.
Yes,
I mean,
yeah, absolutely.
Hot, fast, unafraid. And so after the basket there to make it an 11-point game with 44.8 seconds, St. Mary's going to take a timeout.
Yeah, looks like they're burning a 30 here.
And pardon me, Gonzaga takes their 30. St. Mary's has 2 timeouts left. Gonzaga now with 1. Evan Giddings and Tim Fitzgerald with you on ESPN+. We're going to have our post-game wrap-up after this. And St. Mary's going to get set for the second of their 3-game homestand, and kind of a condensed opportunity with USF coming in on Saturday, a team that gave St. Mary's some fits early in the year over the bridge. It really was kind of their lone lopsided loss during their 7-2 start to conference. They played Washington State pretty tough, but
yeah. And you're right, that was in a good stretch for them, and it just sort of is emblematic of that inconsistency they've had this year, and that you can battle, have some great games, get some wins, and then have a blowout like that.
Gonzaga is going to bring in Cristobal Osorobo for the first time as well. So 40A.
Gales trapping to the end.
Little leaves it short. Goes up. Afiaki denies her.
Well, the Ejim show did not disappoint.
No, it did not.
She definitely lived up to the billing, had a great game. You know, she is accolade heavy right now. She was the National Player of the Week recently on the mid-season Wooden Award watch list, the Ann Drysdale Player of the Year watch list, the College All-Star Game watch list, Becky Hammond Player of the Year watch list. She's on them all right now, and she has lived up to her billing, and really a solid performance again from her tonight.
No, she is, without a doubt, one of the best players in the country, not just scorers. I mean, not just the 21.4 points per game, which is top 10 in the country, not just the 9 rebounds per game, which is tops in the WCC, but she does a little of everything. As Murphy has the takeaway and then gives it right back, as Gonzaga will likely wind this one down. So with Turner standing out near the midline, it is going to be 10 in a row for Gonzaga, as after a 1-2 start to conference play, they stand atop the WCC at 11-2. St. Mary's surges through the middle portion of the game, but the Bulldogs close them out 69-58. I mean, overall, you saw a little bit of both. I think a young upstart St. Mary's group that has unfortunately now lost 4 in a row, but gets a really good gauge of where they're at, where this program is at against a Gonzaga team that is coming off back-to-back West Coast Conference championships.
Yeah, it's been, it was a tough test. We knew it was going to be.
No
and this is what, kind of what we expected from this game here tonight. But you're right, the Gales, I hope they take some of the positives from that middle portion of the game, the way they clawed back and made it a one-possession game against a team like Gonzaga. Some of the stretches they had, it's emblematic of what you've talked about, Evan. They have trouble sort of stringing that together, not only game by game, but within the game, quarter to quarter. hopefully they take some positives from that, take those the moments that they had in this game that were good, and learn how to extend that over the full 4 quarters.
Well, Yvonne Ejim, who again became the program leader in points for Gonzaga amidst this game, finishes with 27 and 11. But the other second half score I thought was imperative to Gonzaga's separation was Allie Turner. You know, 13 points, all of which in the second half, a freshman that is #1 in the country among freshmen in three-point shots. You saw that microwave that you described come alive.
Yeah, she heated up quickly. It just took that one elbow jumper that she got after forcing a turnover. Her defense led to offense. She got that one elbow jumper, and then boom, the three started to come quickly for that quick release. We finally got to see it in person of how well she can get that shot off so quickly. It shows why she's been able to make such an immediate impact as a freshman. Once that one shot went in, that just really sparked the confidence from there.
Meanwhile, for St. Mary's, 3 double-digit scores in this game. Again, Maya Jones finishes with 15, the majority of which in the second half.
Yeah.
Kennedy Johnson, a consistent 16. Zariah Kuso had 10 points. It felt like when they were working in synchronicity, especially to begin that second half, that's where they found their stride. And this isn't a St. Mary's team that's going to have someone like an Ejim that's going to carry you with 25 or 30 in a specific game. But that sort of tri-pronged attack, the 3 double-digit scores is where you see them and where they have success.
It really is about that collection of 3. Unfortunately, Maya Jones in foul trouble in the first half, and she finishes as their second leading scorer with 15. Had she been able to play more of the first half, not dealing with that foul trouble, who knows where she could have finished in this game points-wise. Who knows where that could have put the Gales on the scoreboard as well. Alcuso, she was the big spark of that second quarter. Her offense not only scoring but distributing, and unfortunately they kind of bottled her in, slowed her down in the second half. We didn't see as much from her offensively. Had a couple of good jump shots go that she's got. She had a couple of them go, but just couldn't quite get the volume of shots up that you'd like from her.
No doubt. Gonzaga and St. Mary's actually finished pretty evenly, 44 to 43% from the floor, but Gonzaga a couple more from three-point range, 11 of 11 at the free throw line, and that's the separation that creates the 11-point victory tonight for Gonzaga. But coming up next on Saturday, 5 o'clock tip, USF, UNI, I believe. It's going to be a lot of fun, so come on out. And a USF team that, sort of similar to St. Mary's, more so for injury purposes, has been dealing with their own roller coaster ride this season. Yeah,
we'll see which version of them we get coming in. You know, they've been hit by the transfer portal. Also, have kind of scored in the transfer portal as well, dealing with their injury issues right now. But you know, they've had some of their top players, in fact, get affected. But you know, we'll see. It'll always be a battle between these two ancient rivals coming up Saturday.
No doubts. USF comes the other side of the bridge here in Moraga. St. Mary's lost to them their first time, so looking to split the season series and grab some revenge here at home. Again, Saturday, 5 o'clock tip right here inside of University Credit Union Pavilion. So a big thank you to all those of you who watched tonight. Big thank you to our production staff, camera crew, all the rest. A+, the best. For my guy, Tim Fitzgerald, my name is Evan Giddings saying so long from Moraga, where one last time St. Mary's falls to Gonzaga. 69-58. The Bulldogs now 10 in a row atop the West Coast Conference. We'll talk to you on Saturday right here. You've been watching the St. Mary's Gills and Gonzaga Bulldogs, West Coast Conference women's basketball on ESPN+.